Chapter 94. I came to deliver food, Ying Xize said. Lu Jiwei. Ying Xize pointed at the skewers on the table. Lu Jiwei and Sang Wansi immediately understood. Ying Xize threw the tissue into the bin, eyes filled with curiosity. Sis, who is sister-in-law? He had just washed his hands and was about to wipe the water off, but the box of tissue was by the bed, so he had missed Lu Jiwei's earnest confession. Sure enough, his big sister did like girls. Was it Teacher Sang, or did she just show a photo to Lu Shijiao and Teacher Sang was just accompanying her? No, why did he say sure enough? Lu Shijiao held onto the grilled corn skewer and stood there, her eyes filled with shock and a little lost. God, my sister-in-law is Sang Wansi. My big sister really is a lesbian. She even managed to win over Sang Wansi. Then what should I do now? What should I say? Lu Jiwei and Sang Wansi looked at each other. They had only intended to be honest to Lu Shijiao about this. They did not expect that God would actually force them to buy one and get one free, stuffing Ying Xize in. Since that was the case, then they would just go with the flow. Lu Jiwei held Sang Wansi's hand tightly, looking at the two people with a determined gaze. Xiao Ying, Jiao, I am dating Wansi, we've been dating for a long time now. Hearing that, Lu Shijiao recalled something, exclaiming in surprise, you said you liked someone before. It would not be Sister Wansi, would it? Ying Xize. Was not that last year? Counting like that, it has been a while. They actually dated for so long and kept it from them. Lu Jiwei did not deny it. The two of them held each other's hands tightly, waiting for a response. Lu Jiwei could not tell if they would reject it or wish them well. But who did not want the support of their family and friends when they started dating someone? However, if she could not get it, then so be it. She would not be hung up over it. Did not she live perfectly fine without family and friends all these years? Now she had Sang Wansi. Sang Wansi was her whole world. After the initial shock, Ying Xize quickly accepted it. Before, when he mistook Lu Jiwei as a man, did not he believe that Lu Jiwei liked Sang Wansi? Now that they were together, it was a beautiful thing. That is good, he smiled. It is a good thing to be able to find someone who shares your feelings. I support you too. Lu Jiwei and Sang Wansi looked at him in tandem. Even Lu Shijiao looked at him. Ying Xize rubbed the back of his head and asked embarrassedly, so do I also have to call her sister-in-law in the future? Lu Jiwei's expression relaxed as her eyes showed her amusement. Sang Wansi smiled calmly, up to you. Regardless of whether you say it or not, she interlocked her fingers with Lu Jiwei's and looked at her. I am still Jiwei's girlfriend. Ying Xize immediately covered his eyes and exclaimed exaggeratedly, damn it, it is dog food. He had not had many skewers, but he was already full from all the dog food. This was too unexpected. Lu Shijiao blinked, then came back to her senses, saying in disdain, your acting skills are too exaggerated. It sucks. Ying Xize smiled, then rubbed her head hard, eat your corn skewer, little classmate Shijiao. Lu Shijiao pouted. Although she was being disdainful of Ying Xize on the surface, she was actually very thankful he was here. At least he could provide her with an emotional example so she could better deal with her sister's coming out. Go congratulate her. Regardless of whether it was a man or woman, as long as they liked each other and could be happy, it was worth congratulating. And the other person was Sang Wansi. As long as Sang Wansi was by her sister's side, she did not have to worry about anything. With such a reliable big sister accompanying her sister, what reason was there to reject? Lu Shijiao adjusted her emotions, then said slowly, sister, as long as you are happy, it's good. The rest is not important. Then she turned to look at Sang Wansi. Sister Wansi, I only have this one sister, you need to treat her well. No, you have to treat her even better. If you bully her or let her down, then even if you are the heiress to the Meng family, I will hate you. At that time, Sang Wansi's anti-fans would immediately increase by 1. After becoming an anti-fan, she would never watch Sang Wansi's shows again. Sang Wansi smiled and nodded, I will not give you the chance to hate me. Just like Meng Lianyu said, she would also prove her love for Liu Jiwei to Liu Jiwei's family. They had been together for over a year by now, their feelings for each other would only increase, not decrease. Both now and in the future. Liu Shijiao finally nodded in satisfaction. Having successfully come out of the closet, Liu Jiwei did not forget to warn the two kids to keep it quiet. We are not planning on going public yet, you two cannot reveal it. She continued complaining, you two revealed my secret last time. Sang Wansi smiled and said gently, that time was harmless, and it was just in time. Liu Jiwei stared at her in embarrassment. It seems fine now, but she was scared to death then, thinking that they could not even be friends anymore. Liu Shijiao. Ying Xize. The two of them said in unison, when Liu Jiwei did not continue the subject, go, 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 do not be so curious. All right, you two eat, rest early after you are done. We are tired from filming the whole day too, we will go back first. Xiao Ying, do not eat too much, aren't you watching your weight lately? I got it, sis. Ying Xize replied. Hearing that, Liu Shijiao snuck a glance at him. Then she walked her elder sister and sister-in-law out. Closing the door, she turned around. Ying Xize was helping her open a bottle of water and then he arranged the skewers neatly before calling her over. Liu Shijiao looked at the skewer in her hand, replaying Liu Jiwei's words in her mind. She pursed her lips, then asked boldly, Ying Xize, you are watching your weight these days. Ying Xize did not deny it. Liu Shijiao, then why did you buy supper? Ying Xize replied calmly, I was afraid you were hungry. Liu Shijiao raised an eyebrow, I have a phone too, I can order food if I am hungry. Ying Xize remained calm, even so, I can be worried that you're hungry. Liu Shijiao stood at the door, looking at him silently. Ying Xize opened the boxes as he continued speaking, your elder sister is hard at work filming, she does not have time to take care of you. Since I brought you here, of course I have to take good care of you. Besides, you are smaller than me. It's only natural for the older person to take care of the younger person. And, are not we friends? It is only natural for friends to take care of each other. Most importantly, it is. His voice stopped here, as if he had accidentally said something that he did not even know how to continue. He changed the topic, what are you so curious for? Come over and eat, it is time to sleep after eating and digesting the food. It is what Liu Shijiao suddenly asked. She had a feeling, but she wasn't very certain. She still wanted to hear what he had to say. Ying Xize stood there silently, then turned to look at her with a serious expression, Jiao Jiao, do you really want to hear what I have to say next? He was asking for her permission. Whether to take that step or retreat and not cross the boundary. As someone who had been confessed to many times, how could Liu Shijiao not realize it? She nodded her head without thinking, I want to hear it. The atmosphere immediately descended into silence. They looked at each other, nobody taking the first step. After a while, Ying Xize broke the silence. Jiao Jiao, would you be willing to let me be your boyfriend? Lu Jiwei was still preoccupied with the happiness of successfully coming out to her family after she left. But Sang Wansi had already sensitively noticed there was something not right with Ying Xize and Lu Shijiao. Lu Jiwei only noticed it after she brought it up. Ying Xize always took extra care of her Mimi. They would go out to play together if they were free, and help each other solve their problems. Lu Shijiao had unknowingly praised Ying Xize in front of Lu Jiwei a few times now. Thinking about it, it did feel like something was going on. But this made Lu Jiwei feel surprised more than anything else. Good fellow, the original supporting male lead has actually gotten together with her sister. Wait, maybe the two of them had not gotten so far yet, but nobody would dislike Lu Shijiao's character and she would be happy anywhere. Lu Jiwei couldn't tell if she really liked him or not. Ying Xize would not be liking her one-sidedly, right? This child was too pitiful. As a big sister, she started worrying about her little brother's love life. Sang Wansi calmed her down. There wasn't any conclusion yet. If the two of them really were together, she believed they wouldn't hide it from Lu Jiwei. Lu Jiwei felt like Sang Wansi was making sense. Whether or not they got together, it was a decision made by the two of them. If they could be together, it would definitely be a good thing. Even if they could not be together, the most she could do as a big sister is feel sad. She could not force anything to happen. Relationships still had to go with the flow. Lu Jiwei walked Sang Wansi to her door. Our teacher Sang has worked hard today. Rest early, we will bring them nearby to play tomorrow. She had originally thought that the two of them would have to be separated because her sister came. But the unplanned coming out actually was accepted, so now they did not need to hide in front of Lu Shijiao and Ying Xize. Good night, Jiwei. Sang Wansi pulled her into the room and closed the door. Go back after we are done kissing. Lu Jiwei wrapped her arms around Sang Wansi's neck. Kiss me more, longer. Hearing that, Sang Wansi smiled and pulled Lu Jiwei into the washroom. Kissing alone was not enough. The weather was pleasant the next day. Lu Shijiao got up and packed, excitedly going out with her sister. She had to cherish every moment of her hard-earned leave. Ying Xize said he'll accompany Luo Xin Han for lunch first, then look for them after that. On the road, Lu Jiwei and Sang Wansi took good care of Lu Shijiao. Lu Jiwei was worried, asking about how work and life was, as if she was afraid her Mimi was not living well. Lu Shijiao answered all her questions and told her not to worry. The job that she found paid well and the boss was a good person who prioritized work-life balance, so the company had never worked overtime before. Currently, she was living in Lu Jiwei's house, so there was no worry she had nowhere to stay. Since Lu Jiwei would be away from home for months on end while filming, the house was going to be empty anyway. She could help keep the place clean and save on rent if she moved in. When her sister and sister-in-law got married and came out to the public, then she would find a new place to stay. She picked up her teacup and took a sip, still a little dazed. Sang Wansi was actually her sister-in-law. It was still a little unbelievable. She was now actually the little sister of Sang Wansi's family member. If her university dorm mates knew about it, they would probably be so shocked they'd be screaming. Putting the cup down, she asked, "Sister, are you guys continuing to shoot tomorrow?" Lu Jiwei nodded. If we finish early, we might be able to finish everything before January 1st. Lu Shijiao nodded in understanding. Lu Jiwei asked, "What time will you and Xiaoying be leaving tonight?" Lu Shijiao replied, we will leave after eating dinner. We cannot go back too late, I still have work tomorrow. Liu Jiwei patted her head, good girl, it has been tough on you. Liu Shijiao smiled obediently. After dinner, Ying Xize and Liu Shijiao met the others and prepared to leave. Luo Xianhan had to refilm a scene, so he did not have time to send off Ying Xize. Liu Jiwei and Sang Wansi kindly conveyed his well wishes as well. Liu Jiwei could not help but nag them a bit before letting them go. But they were not in a rush to leave. Under the setting sun, the two of them stood in front of their sister, looking at each other as if they had something to say. What is it? Liu Jiwei asked. Finally, Liu Shijiao was the one who spoke. Sister, we have something to tell you, it is. Liu Jiwei was curious, what? Sang Wansi lifted an eyebrow, as if she had already guessed. Ying Xize rested his arm on Liu Shijiao's shoulders and smiled wholeheartedly, I'm someone with a girlfriend too. Liu Shijiao covered her face embarrassedly. Ying Xize's smile grew even more radiant as he rubbed her head happily. Seeing Liu Shijiao like this, Sang Wansi suddenly felt that the sisters really had the same thin skin. Her Jiwei also covered her face frequently because she was shy. From today onwards, she would acknowledge Ying Xize calling her sister-in-law. Liu Jiwei was both surprised and happy. Ying Xize promised, Sis, do not worry, I will treat Jiao Jiao well, you're welcome to keep an eye on me. Liu Jiwei couldn't help but smile, with teacher Ying's promise, I can rest assured. Hurry up and return, be careful on the road and make sure you're not photographed together. But Ying Xize smiled, Jiao Jiao said it's okay even if we are photographed together. As long as Liu Shijiao didn't mind, they could publicize their relationship once they were photographed. They were open about it and had nothing to fear. Liu Jiwei nodded. Ying Xize put on his cap and mask, then walked away holding onto Liu Shijiao's hand. After 2 steps, Ying Xize reached out and took Liu Shijiao's bag, carrying it on his shoulder. The two of them held hands, swinging their interlocked hands around, as if they were kindergarten children. Liu Jiwei watched as they got into the car and left, then looked at her girlfriend. Suddenly, she felt like life was complete. Now she just had to film the show and complete the world missions, then get the right to know, and she could really die without regrets. Teacher sang, they've left, we should go too. Liu Jiwei turned away. It is time to go back and rest, we still have to work hard tomorrow. After a short break, it was back to the busy filming schedule. From October onwards, various television award shows started happening. Questioning Deity Sect was also nominated for the Golden Autumn Awards. Sang Wansi was nominated for the Best Actress Award while Liu Jiwei was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress Award, as usual. Liu Jiwei thought that with both protagonist halos around, this year's awards would also be uneventful. In the end, the Best Actress Award at the Golden Autumn Awards this year was won by someone else, not by Sang Wansi. Liu Jiwei was shocked. Sang Wansi's acting skills had clearly improved since last year, why did she lose this time? Didn't the protagonist halo make it so that she would always be successful? Lao Wu explained, nobody's life is always successful. Even the protagonist in a novel will experience setbacks and strong opponents to become even stronger. Humans always need to recognize their own flaws before becoming even better. Don't worry, it is just once or twice, she will definitely be able to win tons of awards in the future. Liu Jiwei could not refute this. In this new age idol drama, anything could happen. She could only go to Sang Wansi's hotel room at night and console her, victory and defeat are common occurrences, there is always next time. Sang Wansi was not unhappy about not winning the award, she had just realized something. So that extremely good luck of hers did not work all the time. It seems like she has to film a few more movies, she cannot bet everything on just a few. Coming back to her senses, she smiled at Liu Jiwei. Do not worry, Jiwei, I understand and I am not upset. I will just work harder next time. Liu Jiwei saw that she was in a bit of a daze earlier, and got a bit worried. You really think so? Sang Wansi nodded and leaned into her embrace, hugging Liu Jiwei. I am also very happy Jiwei won an award. Even though she did not win the Best Actress award, but it was also worth celebrating that Liu Jiwei won the Best Supporting Actress award. Liu Jiwei hugged her then stroked her hair. It is good that you are not upset, it is good that you can look away from it. I am most worried about you being unhappy. Hearing that, Sang Wansi grabbed Liu Jiwei's hand and pressed it to her lips gently. I will be happy as long as sister keeps accompanying me. Liu Jiwei laughed and teased her. Oh, this is what our teacher Sang said. Then I will have to accompany you for a lifetime and you have to be happy for a lifetime. You have to do what you said. Sang Wansi's fingers closed around Liu Jiwei's tightly. I will do what I said. The weather was cool and nice in October. Shackles continued production smoothly. Everybody invested 120% of the energy into this movie, hoping to create something that would satisfy the audience. As the main leads, Liu Jiwei and Sang Wansi naturally worked even harder. Today, they had two scenes. The first scene was when the goddess had woken up after being drunk and asked Lin Huairou what had happened the night before. The second scene was of Lin Huairou praying to the goddess statue, with the goddess encouraging her to pray for what she desired. Guo Hui arranged the set with the employees, seeking the perfect scene. Once everything was ready, the actors got into place. Filming started. The sky was clear and bright. In the pavilion, Sang Wansi grabbed a handful of fish pellets and scattered them into the pond casually. The koi fishes scrambled to snatch their meal. On the other side, Liu Jiwei was rushing over, the ankle bell jingling. It was like the goddess' current emotions. She wanted to know if the memory in her mind was a dream or if it was real. Did her believer actually like Zhou Mingshan? Did she not care about the goddess at all? The person had not yet entered the scene, but the sound of the bell arrived. Lin Huairou turned her head and dismissed Kui Luo. You is here to serve me. If the master comes back, hurry back and tell me. Kui Luo turned to leave. The goddess stopped 3 steps away from Lin Huairou. Lin Huairou was still feeding the fish, not looking at the goddess. Madam. The goddess spoke first. Lin Huairou asked calmly, what is it? Seeing her like this, the goddess was even more unsure. But she still wanted to ask. Madam, did you go to my room last night? Lin Huairou replied, I did. The goddess wanted to take another step forward, closer to her. Then Lin Huairou continued, I saw you were drunk, so I helped you to lay down and left. The goddess' feet halted. Lin Huairou scattered another handful of pellets. What is it? Did something happen? The goddess frowned and asked unhappily, is that all? Lin Huairou replied, that is all. Her expression was too calm and composed, nobody could not believe her. The goddess was suddenly disappointed, feeling helpless. Then she heard Lin Huairou say, I will release you from my service. The goddess looked up, staring at her anxiously, what did you say? Lin Huairou finished feeding the fish, turning to look at her, there is freedom outside the mansion, you can go wherever you want and see whatever scenery you want. Nobody will restrict you, and you do not have to worry about angering the master again. They stood on the bank of the pond, their reflections on the surface of the water. The distance between them was like it was when they first met. I have freedom, the goddess said. I am willingly staying by your side, to accompany you forever. It was another confession. Lin Huairou looked away. The goddess was determined. Madam, do not chase me away. Wherever you are, I will be also. She liked her. She wouldn't abandon Lin Huairou alone in this cage. Even if she had to leave, she had to bring Lin Huairou along and let her forget about Zhou Mingshan, this scum. Lin Huairou couldn't do anything, walking away from the pavilion and leaving behind a sentence, tell me when you want to leave. Madam! The goddess called out. Lin Huairou stopped. She heard the person behind her say, nobody has any right to request for you to change yourself. Don't live according to others' wishes. Live how you want to, so it will not be so painful. Why did the world ask the wives to change? Why not ask the husbands? If it was her, she would not listen to this rubbish. Just like now, she wasn't restrained. People always had their own thoughts about gods. They had never seen a god before, but they always thought that gods should act and be a certain way. Mighty and aloof, showing compassion for all living beings but still having a heart of stone. The heavens also asked that of them. But she refused. She wanted to be moved, she wanted to like Lin Huairou, she wanted to leave the platform that shackled her. She was free, and she wanted Lin Huairou to be free too. She loved Lin Huairou, she wanted Lin Huairou to live well. Lin Huairou listened, but stayed silent and walked away. The goddess turned to look at the direction she left in. Through the lens, Liu Jiwei was alone again. After this scene, the set changed. Liu Jiwei looked at the statue of the goddess in the temple, suddenly realizing she hadn't been here in a long time. Sang Wanxi came over after changing her costume, using different clothes to signify the time had changed. The context of this scene was that Zhou Mingshan's temper had gotten worse and worse. After returning home, he verbally abused Lin Huairou and started finding fault with the Lin family, causing the family to pressure Lin Huairou. Lin Huairou became even more despondent, crying in secret and being conflicted, thinking about Ayu and what Ayu said. The goddess then suggested for her to go to the temple and pray, to tell the statue her sorrows. The goddess wanted to hear the prayers of her believers. The goddess wanted to perform miracles for her believers. After everything was prepared, the filming started. After the initial scene, Liu Jiwei left Sang Wanxi and walked outside the hall to wait. She lifted her head to look at the sky. It was a pleasant day too, with a cool breeze. It seemed to give off a everything will go well vibe. As if it was very suitable for prize drawing. She wondered if she should use the 10 draws. It is decided, she would draw it after this scene was filmed. She had to rub her girlfriend's hand for luck beforehand too. She collected her thoughts and continued filming seriously. The script had said that this time, Lin Huairou finally said her wish to the goddess. It was a simple phrase, good and evil will be rewarded. Good and evil will be rewarded. The goddess smiled in satisfaction. Her believer finally wanted to fight back. This take was successfully passed too. Liu Jiwei turned and walked into the hall and helped Sang Wanxi up, conveniently rubbing her hand to take some luck. Sang Wanxi was confused, what is it? Liu Jiwei smiled, nothing, I just wanted to take some luck from teacher Sang, I will definitely be able to win if there is any prize drawing in the future. Sang Wanxi smiled and stretched out her hand obediently, then Jiwei can rub it a bit more. Liu Jiwei, hm. After rubbing it for a while and turning to look at the statue of the goddess, Liu Jiwei suddenly felt a good feeling, and she immediately called for Lao Wu to start drawing the prizes. 10 draws. Let us do 10 draws, I want to change my mind. Lao Wu pulled 10 draws for her. After the ceremony, it was time for the exciting prize opening. The system did it in a formal way, opening the prizes one by one, so Lao Wu also announced it one by one. The first one was a good thing. A seasoning packet for instant noodles, Lao Wu said. Lu Jiwei, the last time, it was a carton of instant noodles. It is not even a carton this time, your prize pool is too outrageous. Lao Wu said considerately, do not a lot of people curse others to not have seasoning packets when eating instant noodles these days? We are doing a good deed here. Lu Jiwei. What a good deed! This was making her bad luck even worse. Lao Wu consoled her, it is okay, do not be too upset, there are still 9 to go, what if? Lu Jiwei. What a form of reassurance, this child was already starting to be scared. Chapter 95. There were still 9 prizes left to be announced by the system. Lu Jiwei was both nervous and afraid now. It was already so hard to save up the points, if all 10 draws were rubbish, she would immediately say farewell to the prize drawing and never suffer this again. She had even taken some luck from Sang Wansi earlier. Now it looks like just rubbing the luck off was not enough, she had to get Sang Wansi to draw the prizes herself for a miracle to happen. Nothing could change her bad luck. Sang Wansi called out after seeing Lu Jiwei's bitter expression, Jiwei. Lu Jiwei looked over, Sang Wansi raised a finger and brushed it against Lu Jiwei's eyebrow, why do you look so unhappy? Lu Jiwei smiled awkwardly and embarrassedly, because I thought about how bad my luck is. Sang Wansi smiled and comforted her calmly, let us just go with the flow. The world was like that. The more you wanted something, the harder it would be to get it. Why not just face it with a peaceful heart, maybe a surprise would come out of the blue. Lu Jiwei replied with a smile, but she was crying in her heart. It might be a surprise out of the blue for others, but out of the blue, she would only get a packet of instant noodle seasoning. At this moment, she heard Lao Wu say, I would advise you to hurry back to the hotel. She was immediately confused, why is there a monster? Lao Wu, no, I'm afraid you will be too happy and expose yourself in front of Sang Wansi. Hearing that, 3 huge exclamation marks popped out on top of Lu Jiwei's head. Too happy? Then she really did draw a good thing. She was really going to get rid of her bad luck. Lao Wu said, yes. Lu Jiwei, you're sure you are not pranking me? Lao Wu, of course, I can tell you what the second prize is right now. Lu Jiwei, go ahead. So Lu Jiwei heard Lao Wu clearly say, 5-day cruise on a luxury ship. Lu Jiwei. Lao Wu, oh, for 2 people. Lu Jiwei. 2 people, then was not it just right to bring her girlfriend on a date? What kind of good thing was this? She was good, she could do it. The female protagonist's luck was really too good. Because she was still in public, she didn't dare to show her excitement. She kept her cool on the way back, finally abandoning her composure when she closed the room door behind her. It is really a 5-day cruise on a luxury ship. It is really for 2 people. There is no funny small print of terms and conditions, right? None, Lao Wu promised in amusement, none, really. Lu Jiwei agitatedly hugged the pillow and rolled around on her bed. Awesome! When the filming was over, she would find time to go on a date with her girlfriend. Then she sat up and waved a hand, quick quick quick, continue while the luck is still around. Lao Wu announced the third prize. Laughter in his voice. A sort of laughter that made her feel like something was not quite right. The third is, ah! A fork for the instant noodles. Liu Jiwei held her forehead. This ridiculous system. Are you guys coming to me to play a collection game? Are you going to give me pancakes next? Lao Wu was surprised. Oh! How did you know the fourth prize is pancakes? Liu Jiwei was dumbfounded. I was just saying it doesn't have to be. Lao Wu clapped. The child has completely gotten used to the system, and now she can accurately predict the outrageous outcomes of the system. Liu Jiwei quickly prayed, God please help me, Wan Si please help me, I want the right to know. Come out, right to know. It was fine before she prayed. Once she prayed, the next 3 prizes were all outrageous items. If there was any place to report scams, she would definitely send this outrageous system there. What kind of rubbish prize pool is this? There isn't even a guarantee. Soon, it was time for the last prize. Liu Jiwei sat cross-legged on the bed, doubt written on her face. The person who had been so excited that her luck had changed for the better was gone, now she was the same person who believed her luck was terrible. Last one, Lao Wu said, do you have anything you want to say? Liu Jiwei was thinking in silence. After a moment, she struggled as she said, this believer is willing to have a balanced diet for the rest of her life, in exchange for the right to know. Is that so? Lao Wu suddenly laughed. Then you had best make sure you are able to do it. Liu Jiwei. Lao Wu's voice suddenly became serious. Congratulations to the host for receiving right to know. Liu Jiwei. Lao Wu, I will answer everything that the host wants to know. Liu Jiwei was so excited she almost jumped off the bed. Lao Wu responsibly explained it to her, and gave her a warning, one right to know can only be used once, there's no time limit but the opportunity might not necessarily come again, so please ask your question carefully, host. Liu Jiwei rarely saw Lao Wu speaking so seriously, she was a bit worried. Ask carefully, then it looks like she had to think of how to ask her questions so that she could get the most information out of this one precious chance. This was a time problem, so she decided to leave it till after the movie was done filming. She excitedly hugged the pillow and rolled back and forth on her bed. She drew the right to know, she really drew it. Not only that, but she also got a 5-day luxury cruise for 2. This was definitely her luck changing for the better. Thank you God, and thanks to her baby for her good luck, she had to rub her girlfriend's hand more often from now on. The first flakes of snow descended in November. After a few days, a heavy snowstorm came around. The whole world was clad in white, icy, and cold. Sang Wansi draped a fur-lined cloak over her shoulders as she stood under the eaves of the house, looking up at the sky. The winter wind was strong and the fine snow blew past her. She reached out a hand, a snowflake landing on her fingertip. Another year was almost over. Teacher sang. Liu Jiwei's voice came from the side as Sang Wansi turned around, seeing Liu Jiwei raising her phone and taking a photo. Liu Jiwei praised her girlfriend as she found an angle for a good photo. Our teacher Sang is too pretty. Stand there and do not move, let me take a few more photos. Sang Wansi really stopped moving until Liu Jiwei said she was done. Then she raised a hand and signaled for Liu Jiwei to come over. Sang Wansi draped the cloak over Liu Jiwei as well. Warm, Sang Wansi asked with a smile. Liu Jiwei hugged her waist and checked her girlfriend's body under the cloak. She had stuck on a few heat packs. Warm. Liu Jiwei replied. Jiwei must wear more. Sang Wansi pulled the cloak tightly over the two of them as she hugged Liu Jiwei. Do not fall sick. Liu Jiwei nodded obediently, Then she held Sang Wanxi's hand, let us go and film. The faster we finish filming, the earlier we can come back to take a hot bath. It is so cold outside. The two of them chatted as they walked. Talking about the script, about birthdays, about the dinner gathering for the new year. The topics blended into one another. As long as they were with each other, they had no lack of things to talk about. The filming for Shackles was progressing smoothly, and it was predicted to end in the middle of December. At that time, they would part again to focus on their own schedules, before reuniting over the holiday. Jiwei is supposed to move in with me. Sang Wanxi held Liu Jiwei's hand tightly, a glimmer in her eyes. You are not allowed to forget. Her house was near the scenic viewpoint. When Liu Jiwei officially moved in, they would be able to go there during the summer to look at the sea and hear the sound of the waves. It was a blissful thing to be accompanied by your favorite person at your favorite spot. Liu Jiwei's eyes and smile were gentle, I will not forget. Once we're done filming, I will go back and pack. The house can be left for Jiao Jiao to stay in. Sang Wanxi nodded. As soon as the two of them arrived at the set, they were immediately called over by Guo Hui to start filming. The main point was to film some of the daily interactions and use them as transitions in the movie. The length of the movie was limited, so directors had to learn how to pick and choose which scenes to use to show the changes in the relationships of characters within a certain time. In the winter, Sang Wanxi and Luo Xianhan were saved, thanks to their costumes with many layers. As for Liu Jiwei, who was dressed in the goddess costume, she suffered. Putting aside the fact her shoulders had to be bared, she had to walk around barefoot. Now it was Sang Wanxi's turn to worry about her. Liu Jiwei could only take comfort in the fact that she was afraid of pain and not cold. After filming, Guo Hui let them rest and warm up at one side. Liu Jiwei took off the ankle bell and put it on the table, to avoid the sound interfering with the shoot. Because the next scene needed her ankle bell. More accurately, it needed the sound of the bell. Ever since the goddess had gotten drunk, the relationship between her and Lin Huairou had become distant. Lin Huairou was conflicted. The goddess was different from the rest. The goddess had Lin Huairou's old carefree nature, and to her, the goddess was the only warmth in the world. She could only feel like she was alive when the goddess was around. But at the same time, she hoped for the goddess to leave this place and live unfettered. The goddess, however, was determined to stay by her side in life or death. She stayed, not only to protect her, but also because if she left, she might not be immortal the next time they met again. But after Lin Huairou prayed, things took a turn for the better. The people who had been tortured by the Zhou family all gathered together after escaping and trained themselves up, determined to take justice into their own hands and kill Zhou Mingshan. They were willing to perish together with the Zhou family if need be. The scene to be filmed was the plotting process. Amongst the group of people, the fortune teller's son was there. Liu Jiwei and Sang Wanxi sat outside the set, watching everybody else act. A tense, deadly plan was clearly shown through the camera. Everybody conveyed their hatred of the Zhou family through their acting, resenting the devil who did not care for people's lives. Not only were they going to kill Zhou Mingshan, they were also going to kill his underlings. Nobody cared even if they were going to hell after dying. God knows what you do, the fortune teller's son's eyes were red as hatred showed on his face. Even if he was sentenced to death by 1,000 cuts, Zhou Mingshan does not deserve pity. Does not deserve pity. The crowd echoed after him, their emotions aflame. They exited, each leaving to their own house. The snow was falling outside the house, blanketing the earth. The cold wind blew, obscuring the footsteps of the people in the snow. The fortune-teller's son wrapped his cotton coat tightly around himself. Walking between heaven and earth, his eyes burned firmly. He was going to avenge his father, and he would die without regret if he did it. He hoped the gods in heaven would take pity on his filial heart and bless his plan to go smoothly in order to return justice to this world. The wind whistled. The snow fluttered. Suddenly, a chime rang out. It was near, yet far. Ethereal and like a dream. The fortune-teller's son stopped in the snow, looking around him. The camera showed the set behind him. Aside from the white snow, there was nothing, not even a footprint. He acted confused, then continued walking. Once he walked out of the frame, the employees took the goddess ribbon and made it flutter in the air with a fan. The camera focused on it. The long, pale ribbon fluttered silently into the frame, then out of it. Even if the goddess was not visible, they knew the goddess had come. There was nowhere she couldn't be on heaven and earth. After using a few hours to shoot this scene, it was time for Liu Jiwei to film again. She was going to show the goddess determination, giving Lin Huairou the potion of forgetfulness. It was still that small house. The doors and windows were shut, keeping the snow out. Liu Jiwei wore the thin, servant's costume as she held the potion in her hand, her expression thoughtful. She knew about the plan and understood this was destiny, it was Zhou Mingshan's karma, and she didn't plan to intervene. She could forcefully help Lin Huairou avoid her death, but she absolutely would not help someone who had hurt Lin Huairou. Good and evil would be rewarded, this was the logic of the heavens, and it was also Lin Huairou's wish. But she was still afraid Lin Huairou would be sad. Lin Huairou had been adamant that she liked Zhou Mingshan. And with Zhou Mingshan being like this, he would hurt Lin Huairou regardless of whether he lived or died. Her eyelashes fluttered as the goddess looked at the potion in her hand. It would be best to forget. Forget it. When you have forgotten him, I'll bring you away from me, to anywhere that you want to go. After she said that, she put the bottle down and took out her magic pouch, pulling it open and inspecting the treasures inside, taking a few out onto the table to count. This was the financial fund that the goddess had prepared to support her wife. Many of them were treasures that she had collected over thousands of years. Any one of them could fetch a fortune in the human world, enough to clothe and feed Lin Huairou for several lifetimes. Liu Jiwei inspected her treasures like a little child. Then she put them all back, but she was actually just putting them under the table to avoid the camera seeing it. Then she kept the pouch and picked up the potion again, suddenly feeling a bit conflicted. The goddess had already planned it out. When Zhou Mingshan died, she would feed Lin Huairou the potion and bring her away. After that, it would be good if Lin Huairou could fall for her. If Lin Huairou could not fall for her, that was good too. Forcibly removing a mortal's death trial, having mortal desires, breaking heavenly rules for the person she liked. In the eyes of the heavens, she had utterly lost all rights to be a god. The heavens would definitely punish her, and she did not know what her fate would be. But she did not regret it. She was used to being free and unrestrained, so she did not care what a god should be like in the eyes of the heavens. Compassionate and able to love others, this could also be one of the appearances of a god. Not like that hypocritical way of heaven, saying that good and evil will be rewarded, but watching idly as a good person was about to die. If she had to say it, the heavens were not worthy of presiding over justice. There were not many lines of dialogue in this take, the silence spoke louder than words. After this scene, it was a scene between Liu Jiwei and Sang Wanxi and the actress who played Kui Luo. Lin Huairou was taking care of affairs in the mansion. If the goddess didn't accompany her, it would be Kui Luo accompanying her. Kui Luo was a talkative person who had no filter. Some key information of the show was given to Lin Huairou and the audience through this character. Like, gods would no longer exist if they suffered 3 punishments from the heavens. After the actress said it, Sang Wanxi's brush paused in the air as she spoke. Where did you hear this from? The two of them were completely in character. Kui Luo looked lively. I heard it from the monk in the temple when Madame went to pray to the goddess. Lin Huairou calmly put down the brush, not saying a word. She did not know about that. But did gods also have sorrows? What would a god have to do to suffer such severe punishment from the heavens? Kui Luo could not help but wonder. Madam, do you think gods really exist? Would these gods all be lies made up to trick us? Lin Huairou kept the same calm expression. They exist if you believe, they do not if you do not. Kui Luo, then madam, do you believe that mortals like us can really see gods? Lin Huairou closed the book, stating firmly, you will see them if you're fated. As the words landed, she looked up and saw the goddess. Through the camera, the two of them looked at each other, inadvertently confirming what she said. Lin Huairou looked at the goddess, not moving an inch. Her eyes dimmed as she looked to be contemplating something. After a while, she looked away. Kui Luo, you can leave first, Yu is here. Yes, madam. Liu Jiwei walked forward and closed the gap between her and Sang Wanxi, stopping in front of her. Sang Wanxi got up. The goddess could not tell her about Zhou Mingshan's retribution. It was a secret of the heavens and could not be revealed to mortals. She thought about what else to talk about. Lin Huairou beat her to it. Yu, have you decided to leave? The goddess gave the same answer. I will leave if madam leaves. Lin Huairou turned, rejecting her suggestion again. You're too insensible. Lin Huairou was a little angered after seeing the goddess not listening to her. The world outside is so big, anywhere else is better. Why are you so stubbornly staying in this dangerous place? Because you are stubbornly staying here, so I need to stay here. The goddess replied. Lin Huairou froze. The goddess took another step towards her, speaking in a light tone as if seducing her. Madam, you can escape from this cage. You can be yourself, you can be free, you can go to Xiling and see the Butterfly Valley as long as you tell me you wish it. Lin Huairou collected herself. She could not. Others could say it, she couldn't. Zhou Mingshan was watching her, her parents were watching her. They were like shackles, wearing down her willpower and courage to struggle, locking her firmly in place. Like the saying goes, once a woman marries into her husband's family, she would always be part of her husband's family. As if there was no place else that she could be aside from that family on heaven and earth. And the Zhou family was so powerful, how could a servant oppose them? She was not willing to see anybody implicated because of her. She wished for Yu to live well, to live freely. Take it as fulfilling Lin Huairou's old dream. Do not talk about this again. Lin Huairou's face turned cold. I will send you out of the estate tomorrow. Madam! I am the matriarch, Lin Huairou interrupted her. I have the right to decide if someone stays or goes in the estate. The goddess knew she was determined this time. The goddess decided to take a step back. I can leave, but I need to stay for another 5 days. After 5 days, Madam won't have to chase me away, I will leave by myself. Is that okay, madam? Her attitude was lowly. Lin Huairou did not say anything else. No matter what, it was good that she would agree to leave this place. I will prepare some money for you. After you leave the estate, you can go anywhere you want. The goddess looked at her back, the light flickering in her eyes before she finally said softly, Okay, thank you, madam. Cut, okay, this take is okay too. Guo Hui spoke into the speakerphone. Their assistants rushed up and gave the actors their down coats and heat packs. Liu Jiwei was rejoicing that she was not so cold that she forgot her lines, or else they would have to do another take. In the blink of an eye, it was Sang Wanxi's birthday. This year, her birthday was celebrated with the production crew. After wrapping up work, everybody rowdily celebrated for her, having cake and giving her presents. Liu Jiwei gave her a bracelet. It was one half of a matching couple bracelet. The other half was on her own wrist, naturally. Aside from that, they also had the 5-day luxury cruise. Let us go on a date when we have time next year. The two of them lay in bed, Liu Jiwei hugging Sang Wanxi as she thought about their future. These tickets don't expire anyway, we can go whenever. This year was definitely not possible, they could only aim for next year. Besides, her girlfriend was working so hard, Liu Jiwei wanted to bring her out to relax too. Sang Wanxi said, no expiry. Jiwei won these. Liu Jiwei nodded proudly, I rubbed your hand for some luck and won them, my Wanxi is really too lucky. Sang Wanxi chuckled, then it is a date, we will go next year. Liu Jiwei, it's a date. December stealthily approached. The filming for Shackles was also slowly coming to an end. Zhou Mingshan had arranged for a grand banquet at his home, with guests invited. Among those were Lin Huairou's parents. And today, was coincidentally the day that the people who had been harmed by him were taking their revenge. This banquet was destined to not be peaceful. The goddess bade Lin Huairou farewell on this day and left the Zhou mansion. She could not stay by Lin Huairou's side, so she could only protect Lin Huairou from the shadows. Today, she had to bring Lin Huairou away and give her the potion of forgetfulness. The scene was set. Everything was checked. Guo Hui sat behind the monitor and indicated for filming to start. Liu Jiwei still had to stand on the roof of the house on a winter day for the setting. Her face was icy cold from the wind, and she still had to act like she was calmly looking down. The Zhou family's banquets had always been lavish, with esteemed people as guests. The goddess hid herself under an invisibility spell and stood on the roof, looking at Lin Huairou. She stood by Zhou Mingshan's side, dazzling with pearls and ornate hairpins, silk and satin. Anybody would be proud to have such a beautiful wife. Zhou Mingshan was no exception. Lin Huairou was a beauty, and before she had gotten married, she had been the ideal woman of many men. Besides, she was clever, capable and obedient, acting the part of the Zhou family matriarch well. Who would not envy Zhou Mingshan for having such a good wife? It was because of this that he had spared Lin Huairou. In front of others, they were the most loving couple. The goddess silently watched as Lin Huairou smiled appropriately at Zhou Mingshan. She watched as Zhou Mingshan took Lin Huairou's hand and led her into the house. She watched as they took their seats, smiling and talking. The hall was filled with guests, all mingling happily. The goddess looked away, up towards the sky. The sky tonight was dark and gloomy with lightning crackling overhead, as if it could strike at any moment. Maybe it was to strike the evil man below, or to strike this failure of a god. She did not care, continuing to watch the scene below. This scene was filmed almost entirely from the goddess' point of view, from welcoming the guests with a harmonious attitude and smiles, until the victims infiltrated the mansion and set the place ablaze, drawing their swords and causing havoc in the hall. She watched everything. From high up. It was exactly the saying the heavens see every act of man. The goddess watched as Zhou Mingshan grabbed his wife from the side and used her as a shield to block a sword, finally enraged into taking action. Zhou Mingshan, you're still dismissing the importance of other lives when you're about to die. Someone like you should have his soul shattered, never to reincarnate again. The hall was in chaos as guests screamed and ran in all directions. Everybody had been stripped of their glamour, looking incredibly flustered. Lin Huairou was in shock when she was pulled by Zhou Mingshan to be a shield. At that instant, she finally had a moment of relief that she could be done with everything. Let her die. She would not have to suffer if she was dead. In her next life, she wanted to be a beggar too, to be a carefree beggar like Ayu. The fortune teller's son was aghast. He did not think Zhou Mingshan had already become so depraved. But the sword couldn't be pulled back, he had no way to change its course. At this moment, there was a jingle. Lin Huairou and the man exchanged glances. Then, the sword in his hand suddenly rebounded off an invisible force field. Everybody was stunned. Zhou Mingshan was elated. Heaven was helping him, even the heavens were helping him. He arrogantly pushed aside Lin Huairou, laughing maniacally, even the heavens are helping me, I want to see who can harm me. The crowd thought it really was a sign of God, and none of them dared to approach. Lin Huairou had been pushed aside. Lifting her head, her parents had already perished under someone's sword. Those familiar faces were already lying lifelessly on the floor. Only Zhou Mingshan and her were still alive. Zhou Mingshan even wanted to use her as a shield. At that moment, she was angered. Why was Zhou Mingshan still alive? Why was everybody else dead but Zhou Mingshan wasn't? Did she really have to live her entire life under Zhou Mingshan's control? Lin Huairou's hands clenched into fists as her limbs went cold, her body trembling. In her mind, she could not stop thinking about what Ayu had said. Nobody has any right to request for you to change yourself. Do not live according to others' wishes. Live how you want to, so it will not be so painful. Ayu. Because of Zhou Mingshan, she had chased away the Ayu who liked her. Why? Why was the one who had left not Zhou Mingshan? Zhou Mingshan thought he was protected by the gods, laughing more and more crazily. Seeing nobody dare to step forward, he got even more arrogant. He lifted a sword, waving it around, not forgetting to mock them, useless creatures, you all deserve to be crushed under my foot. The crowd looked at each other. As Zhou Mingshan took a step back, they took a step forward. They did not dare to rush up, but they were not willing to let him go like this. They could only resent the heavens for not having eyes, protecting scum like this. But at this moment, the crowd saw a slender body flash before them. Someone had rushed up to Zhou Mingshan. A dagger pierced into his heart, blood gushing out. Zhou Mingshan looked at his wife in disbelief. Lin Huairou held onto the hilt tightly, her hands stained with blood as she looked at him with red eyes. Today, she would not ask to live. Even if the heavens were going to rain down punishment, she would drag Zhou Mingshan to hell together with her. Zhou Mingshan spat out Ayu. The dog that he had reared had actually stabbed him at this point. Through the camera, Luo Xianhan and Sang Wanxi's expressions were on point. They hated each other, but it was a different kind of hate. The usual loving couple was now bitterly at odds. According to Zhou Mingshan's character, even if he had to die, he would definitely bring her along. So he stared at Lin Huairou viciously and pulled her into his arms, lifting the sword to stab toward the two of them. Suddenly, the sword bounced off again. As if by divine intervention. Everybody was stunned. Zhou Mingshan was, too. His eyes widened, disbelief in them. So, it wasn't a sign of the heavens protecting him. Zhou Mingshan collapsed. Chains emerged from the ground and coiled around him, like swimming snakes. He would be destined to stay here forever, never to be reborn. At this moment, the fire in the mansion was spreading quickly to the main hall. Everybody else ran out of the hall, leaving Lin Huairou behind. The fire spread up the beams and columns, spitting out flames and sparks. Lin Huairou stood by Zhou Mingshan's body calmly, even with the fire dancing before her. She killed Zhou Mingshan. But she did not regret it at all, she even felt a little happy. She had never felt happy like this before, except for when she was with Ayu. With Ayu, she was herself. At this moment before her death, she was also herself. She slowly closed her eyes. Now, it was time for her to go. Hopefully, she wouldn't meet Zhou Mingshan on the road to the underworld, and she would not meet her parents. Let her leave peacefully and alone. Suddenly, another jingle sounded by her ear. Clear and pleasant, as if Ayu was still by her side. On the monitor, she opened her eyes again. Guo Hui was satisfied, shouting to cut. This take had been filmed for a few hours, and it was finally successful. Every actor's emotions were especially good and she was very satisfied. Especially the change in Sang Wanxi's emotions, it was like she was Lin Huairou herself, bringing the audience along. Everybody warmly congratulated Luo Xianhan on finishing his scenes. The filming paused for a moment as everybody snapped a photo to commemorate it and rest. Then, they had to continue. After this, they had to change the scene. Now it was in front of the goddess statue. The temple was not far, so it was convenient. The crew there had already prepped the background and equipment, all that was left was for the actors to head over. Lin Huairou heard the jingle in the sea of flames, and when she opened her eyes again, she was already in front of the statue of the goddess. Liu Jiwei walked out from behind the statue, still wearing the servant's uniform. She was still Ayu. At this moment, Lin Huairou had already vaguely suspected something, but she still called out, Ayu. The goddess walked to her and hugged her lightly, comforting her, "You've gone through a lot, madam. From now on, wherever madam wants to go, Ayu will accompany you there." Lin Huairou did not speak, clutching at the goddess' clothes tightly. She lowered her eyes as the tears fell. Outside, the dark clouds swirled as lightning flashed, as if the heavens were raging. The goddess calmly looked out the window. Then she continued comforting Lin Huairou, taking out the potion. It must be very painful, having to kill the person she liked. She wanted Lin Huairou to have a fresh start, so of course she had to forget Zhou Mingshan. "Madam, drink it." The goddess persuaded her. "Drink it and have a fresh start." Lin Huairou looked at her, slowly taking the bottle with bloodied hands. She did not even ask what it was. She trusted Ayu. She finished it in a gulp. The potion immediately took effect. Lin Huairou hugged her head in pain, the memories disappearing. The goddess hugged her, pain showing in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Huairou. I just want you to forget those unhappy things. From today onwards, you can like whoever you like, as long as you're happy." Behind the monitor, Guo Hui and Wen Chuang were watching the scene calmly, drawn into the actor's emotions. One was forgetting her love. One was trying to express her love. But nobody could expect that fate would make a fool out of them. Soon, Sang Wanxi quietened down. She slowly put her hands down and lifted her head to look at the person beside her. The goddess looked at her and was about to speak when she saw Lin Huairou's eyes expressing her confusion and wariness, as she said something the goddess never expected. "Who are you?"